Hey, good afternoon, everybody. What's up? Hope everybody all right, man. Peace and power to everybody who might be joining me in the live chat, or you might be joining me on the playback. If you're joining me on the playback, I hope you leave a comment. Tell me what you think about what I'm talking about today. If you're in the live chat, of course, you're welcome to join the stream at any time. Just be respectful of everybody, please. No unnecessary profanity and all that nonsense. And if you're in the chat and you don't want to join the stream, be respectful of everybody else in the chat. I don't want no disrespect to people and all this other BS. All right? If you're new to the channel, the picture I have up is what I hope to be the official VADA logo. It is, in fact, Gerald Miller pushing Anthony Joshua out of Madison Square Garden. What a day that was. Anywho, without further ado, let me get into the conversation, man. Hold on, let me just get something set up here. Just a second. Be with you just a second. And there you go. So the link is pinned to the top of the page if anybody wants to hop on with me, because you know I don't stay on here long. But let me start off with the Olympics first, man. So we've seen some things happen in the Olympics that we haven't seen in a long time. American sprinting needs a lot of help. Needs a lot of help because it's not just walking anybody out there no more and you're going to win the race. You know what I'm saying? American sprinting needs some help, bro. Didn't even make it to the finals in the 4x1. Just got worked in the 4x4. I mean, the women, at least the women did something in the 4x1. They came second at least. Americans, you know, I think they got third in the 100-meter. All this stuff, bro. I'm just saying, man, American sprinting needs help. And Carl Lewis was, he had enough after watching the relay. And he said, American sprinting looks amateurish. He said that shit looked ridiculous. It looks embarrassing. Now, a lot of people can't really criticize Carl Lewis because this is one of the greatest Olympians of all time, not just American. I mean, of all times, of anywhere in the world. And he said after the relay, that shit looked amateurish. People running incorrect legs, the passing sloppy. Everything is just wrong. Damn. But as a Caribbean man, I'm glad to see Caribbean people doing well. Shawnee Miller, the Jamaican women led by Elaine, the youth Gardner. All these people doing well, and I'm happy for them. Parchment in the hurdles. Doing well. But I'm happy, man. You saw, it looks like Italy got its soul of England, man. I mean, in the 4x1, England thought they had it just like in the Euros. And then England creep up from behind and was like, nope. Shit. I gotta tell you, man, I'm happy to see other countries doing well. Full Sports, what's up, man? Hey, my bad. Yeah, as an African man, of course. I like watching the sister from Nigeria. She was in the long jump. She did very well. There's another sister I was watching doing some wrestling there from Nigeria, but I don't know what became of her. I don't know if she ended up winning the medal or not. I forgot her name. Is it Ododuro or something? Anyway, I forgot her name. But the Olympics was really surprising. Olympics for me was very exciting because you saw a lot of people step to the fore. It wasn't just the same old no more. Who would have thought you'd have been seeing Italy as some sprint powerhouse? Who would have thought that? I'm happy for Andre DeGrasse from Canada. You know, he been knocking on the door for a long time. He been coming. He been trying. You know, he was young in the Usain Bolt era. He kept consistent and he came through. Finally. So happy for Andre DeGrasse. What's surprising to me though, which I had to comment on, is that there's a serious uptick in continental African people representing other European nations. This is the blackest Italian team I've ever seen. All these black Portuguese, which I know there are black people in Portugal, but there are a lot of recent immigrants into Portugal from places like Cameroon. There was a shot put sister from Cameroon who now throws for Portugal. So a lot of these countries, these European countries, are trotting out a lot of black people. A lot of black Swiss. You know, it's expected from the Belgians and the French, because a lot of the French teams are usually a bunch of black people, because we know the colonial history of these countries. A lot of blacks, yeah, quite a few black Spanish. So the European nations have really taken advantage of black refugees or immigrants. Otherwise, you see news of black immigrants and so being brutalized in these countries. But they know how to use these people for their own purposes when they want to win. Exactly, Fula. They know they have no choice in order to medal. Of course. It's just interesting the play when African people, black people are able to do something for them, win them something, it's okay. But we see in England when the black brothers them miss their penalties, all of a sudden you became an N. And you became a this and you became a that. But it's not just the European countries. You see places like Qatar. You see places like Qatar. The Qatari team is almost all black people. And I keep wondering, how the hell all these black people reach to Qatar? And these are not even Arabic names. So you say these people maybe were born in Qatar. No. These are people that come from Nigeria, Ghana, West Central Africa, and they're now competing for Qatar. It's just very interesting. There's a serious uptick. It's like these countries now are sifting out, looking for black athletes to come and run and compete for them under their flag. It's just interesting. That's all. What's up, Black? You in the house? You on your way home, listening on the road? Hey, man, safe drive, bro. Mango Juice in the house. Blessed. Fuller Sports says, my nephew's in Portugal and Portugal under 13 national soccer team. Yep. Yeah, Bahrain is doing it too. Definitely. A lot of these countries. Is it that their native people don't do sports? So they now look for immigrants to come and do their sports for them? I could go into the deeper meanings of these things in terms of the historical issues that, you know, these countries have had with African people, but let's not go there today. We're talking about sports today. I don't want to turn this into a history lecture. Well, Sudan is part of Africa, so, you know. But even America, same way, has a lot of people from, like you have somebody like Athing Mu, whose people are South Sudanese, and she was born in America, I think. I think she was born in America, and she represents America. But you saw Joseph Fanbule, who is the NCAA 200-meter champion, he went back to run for Liberia. He ran for Liberia. It's just interesting. But I really enjoyed the Olympics. I thought it was great. Japan pulled it off out of all these protests in the country. The people didn't really want it there. And I think on the 8th, it's going to be all over. That's on Sunday, I think. And everybody goes back home. So congratulations to all the athletes. I said Shawnee Miller today, dominant in the 400 meters. What's up, Red Glove? Dominant in the 400 meters. Well, American sprinting got a lot of work. Oh, yeah, full of sports, definitely. I mean, all these countries, man. All these countries. Britain has well, let's not talk about Britain. We know Britain, again, a lot of these countries, the people that represent them, you understand why based on the colonial history of these people, of these nations. You understand. Britain, France, Belgium, all these places. Portugal too. But a lot of them have very recent imports. Very recent imports that are now competing under the British flag or the French flag or whatever. So that was my Olympic wrap up. Next up, I want to talk about Michael Hunter. It's not on the tagline, but I want to talk about Michael Hunter for a bit. So what up, Woo Doc? So Michael Hunter went ahead and knocked out his pie, Mike Wilson. That dude looked like every bit of a scrapyard walker. Mike Wilson looked awful. He looked like somebody that you walk up to and be like, look, man, I'm looking for some lug nuts for a 2005 Chevy Tahoe. Do you have any in the scrapyard? And he walks you in your scrapyard because he has, he has on his dirty pants and his old boots, and he shows you the body of an old Chevy Tahoe, and he helps you take off the lugs for it. That's who Michael Hunter fought. Michael Hunter fought. And this dude is on Twitter talking all this. So Michael Hunter is now talking about he wants to fight Dillian White. He wants to fight Dillian White. And he was on talking about how Dillian White is acting like he don't know who he is. Blase, blase. Let me see if I can get the article for you. Let's get it for you. Mango Juice says Jamaican women smoked the Olympics this year. I'm telling you, the Jamaican women were ready, bro. That's why I did that stream about the young lady who messed up her opportunity to go to the Olympics. Everybody else stayed disciplined. You should have stayed disciplined too. Them Jamaican women were ready, bro. Ready. So let's share the article here by The Zone. They're quoting a Sky Sports article, and they're quoting Michael Hunter here. Speaking to Sky Sports, he was asked if he wanted to fight the 33-year-old Briton, and he replied, "Absolutely. I don't know if it will happen. He's one of the guys who has the excuse. Who is Michael Hunter?" This is talking about Dillian White. Now, the tagline is, the American heavyweight is looking for a title shot. Michael Hunter wants Dillian White to step up and face him in the ring. He goes on to say, they act like they don't know who I am. I was fighting before they'd ever put on a pair of gloves. He says, I would fight White or even an upcoming guy. I might need to step down to get some action. This guy, man. So here he is talking about about why he withdrew from the negotiate the IBF final eliminator. Hunter admitted it was a big learning lesson. I am in the business of boxing, and I was able to see tactics and moves to not make fights happen. I am the one who pressed for the IBF mandatory. It didn't matter who or when. Let me see. I'm getting my name out. This is one of the stigmas that other fighters try to nitpick. I will check that box, whatever that means. The heavyweight division is a moving picture. It is difficult to say when fights will happen. We knew the forecast, whatever. Hopefully we can press these guys to getting me in the ring with them. That's Michael Hunter, a bunch of nonsense. That's Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter says he's the one who pushed for the IBF mandatory, and I agree. And then he's the one who pulled out. Michael Hunter has got to be the weirdest guy in the world. Here he is saying Dillian Whyte needs to step up and face him. Face him. Michael Hunter best showing was in a draw against Alexander Povetkin. A draw. Now here he is talking about, it's weird, right? Because the two guys that were supposed to fight for the IBF mandatory, Charles Martin and Michael Hunter, both pulled out against Hrgovic, turned down the fight, and then are now calling out Dillian Whyte. What is it about Filip Hrgovic that these two people don't want to deal with? What is it? I mean, this guy, man, this guy beats up Mike Wilson and now talking big shit. What happened to that multi-fight deal? What happened to that multi-fight deal that Triller had for Michael Hunter? I thought Michael Hunter said he has a multi-fight deal. It's big money. It's a much better deal than the peanuts that Eddie Hearn was offering him. No, it seems like he has to be calling out people for his next fight. What happened? Triller didn't come up with the rest fights. Please remember, Michael Hunter said he had a multi-fight deal with Triller. Now, it seems like that multi-fight deal ain't come to pass. Hold on. Let me make sure I got my sources. Y'all know I like to make sure I know what the F I'm talking about. Here it is again. Let me show y'all Michael Hunter saying he has a big fight deal, big multi-fight deal. Here it is. Make sure I blow it up here. So people started to get on Michael Hunter. And I remember this because I was a part of this exchange. And this guy here on Twitter is saying, you said you fight Whyte for free because you know you beat him, but won't take over 300,000 for 50-50 with Hrgovic. Michael Hunter says on his Twitter, I was prepared to fight him for that. Triller just slid in with multiple fight deal worth more. Also, by the way, Michael Hunter was accusing Eddie Hearn and the Sauerland and Sauerland Wasserman people of talking Triller out of the purse bid. But somehow Triller still came back and offered him a multi-fight deal. Michael Hunter is accusing Eddie Hearn and the Sauerlands of backdooring Triller, backdooring him with Triller. So if Triller was a part and parcel of a bid rig with Eddie Hearn and the Sauerlands, why are you still doing a multi-fight deal with the same Triller? Why? Why are you in business with people who are conspiring with a rival promoter to block your earnings? Yet you still signed a deal with these people at Triller. Let me say again. Let me make sure I have it here because I want y'all to see what I'm talking about. Here it is. Michael Hunter, Hearn, Sauerland talk Triller out of Hrgovic purse bid. This is an unboxing scene. And you can read it here, all the other nonsense here that he's talking about. But this guy is a human contradiction. He's full of shit. This is a man who was up and down during the pandemic talking about he'll fight for free. He'll do this for free. He'll do that for free. Hrgovic fight comes up. Talking all this shit. Yeah, bounty, all this nonsense. Suddenly he pulls out. Now he's saying it's Hearn and Sauerland that backdoored him with Triller. And Triller apparently went along with it. Yet Michael Hunter still turns around and signs a quote-unquote multi-fight deal with Triller. But yet, it doesn't seem like he has another fight coming up. He knocks out the pie Mike Wilson. And doesn't seem like there's another fight available for him. So he has to be calling out Dillian Whyte. Michael Hunter is full of shit, bro. It's all nonsense. All contradictions. Hey, so they thought, Black. So they thought. I just think Michael Hunter full of shit. And that's all there is to it. You want a title shot, but you're turning down the Hrgovic fight, which is a straight shot to a title fight, but you're calling out Dillian Whyte, who don't even know when his title fight is coming. Has no idea. Dillian Whyte still looking for a title shot. Why are you calling out Dillian Whyte? That's gonna get you closer to a title shot? With who? With who? Dillian Whyte ain't none of Anthony Joshua's mandatories. Dillian Whyte ain't even a mandatory for WBC. So where are you getting this title shot from if you beat Dillian Whyte? And in terms of him saying Dillian Whyte needs to step up, Michael, beating Sergey Kuzmin, drawing with Povetkin, and whoever else, Eddie Hearn had you, Fabio Maldonado, and these people, and whoever else Eddie Hearn conjured up for you to fight, that ain't gonna get you no title shot, bro. You made some decisions to me that is so strange. So you need to find your way back into somebody's fold. Fine, Matchroom dropped you, and it seemed like that really hurt you. It seemed like when Eddie Hearn dropped you, that hurt you. That hurt you personally, in your soul. I don't know why. The thing is, Eddie Hearn works with fighters all the time who are not directly with Matchroom. He didn't do nothing personal to you. He dropped you. Okay? You're allowed to go and make fights with whoever. You still could have made a fight with Hrgovic, and you didn't. Now you're here talking shit. Anyway, that's my Michael Hunter conversation. Hey, what up, Haplo? Hey, let me acknowledge who all is coming in the house. People like Lisa Bales, my Ayaba. Ayaba means queen, by the way, for anybody who asking. Haplo, Haplo wake up. It's probably 5 a.m. in wherever Haplo lives. It's probably 5 a.m. there. So Haplo's probably getting his little eggs, little coffee, you know. I know he live in Cali, so a lot of ganja out there, so he might be rolling up a spliff. What's up, Haplo? And now we move on to Robert Diaz. Robert Diaz was on with the guys over at D Style Boxing. He was being interviewed by G Funky and Maestro. Very good interview. I liked it. I mean, they can only ask the questions and Robert Diaz can only answer. It's up to us to take the responses how we feel like it. So I'm not going to play the whole interview. I'm going to play some that has to do with Devin Haney and Jojo Diaz. Let me set it up for y'all. We're going to start off with this conversation here.
Guy, well, maybe I'll forget that. And I have read and heard, well, fighters today don't want to fight for the titles. You know what? There's so many belts out there now that's not a bad thing. Let's start fighting the good fights, the better fighters, or forget sometimes the titles, and just as long as it's a fight that you want to see, A versus B. At times you're going to say, you know what, whether there's a belt or not, I'm still going to watch. And that's where we're right now. I think we got to reduce it with the help of all the promoters, of all the organizations. It's just so confusing to the fans when you have so many champions in each division. Remember back in...
That was Robert Diaz. He was responding to a question about why don't they just fight Devin Haney for his belt. Robert Diaz says the belts don't matter. The belts don't matter now. Robert Diaz is saying there's too much belts. In case people don't know, Robert Diaz is the matchmaker for Golden Boy, and the person many people think is in fact in charge of Golden Boy and not Oscar. So Robert Diaz is in fact the person who is the matchmaker, the lead matchmaker for Golden Boy. And here he is saying on the question of Devin Haney and why aren't y'all trying to get the Devin Haney fight? Robert Diaz is saying the belts don't matter. Let me put the link in the chat because I want to make sure y'all can see. I'm not gonna play the whole interview because I don't want to get no copyright and I don't want to bite the guy's interview. But here it is, D Style Boxing. Y'all can go check out the whole thing. Well, the whole segment. There's on the page you'll see the whole interview, the entire interview. But this segment they just cut out, with the conversation of Jojo Diaz, Ryan Garcia, and Devin Haney. Let me play some more for y'all. Haplo. Do they have tostones in St. Kitts? No, I don't know what a tostones is. Tostones, testosterone. What's that? Man, whatever, Haplo. Look here. Let me play something else that might be interesting to y'all.
The Jojo Diaz picture, because I'm getting questions about it in the chat. Devin Haney on one side, Ryan Garcia on the other. If it's even, let's just call it 50-50. Or what do you think? Is it 60%? He might be going to Ryan, 40% he might be going to Haney. Is it 50-50? Is it 70-30? What are your thoughts?
I think, I mean, obviously, when we sit down with him, him and his team are going to have a lot to say. Each fighter knows what style they're suited for, what style's better for them, who they feel they can be. I think when I sit down with Jojo, when we sit down, he's going to say, I don't care. I can be both of them because that's his Jojo. But it's no secret. I mean, which fight is going to be easier to make? Right. Ryan Garcia, because he's with Golden Boy, so it's easier, and it's not about they're just keeping it in out. No, it's easier to make when you're dealing with somebody you know the contracts and the demands are going to be, you know what, within the reason and within the ability to make a fight.
We are live in downtown.
Sorry, I hope the zone don't block my shit for that. What up, ERF and Haplo? Haplo, yeah, Christ, what, a crispy fried plantain? Yeah, we fry plantains, but I don't want no crispy fried plantain. What you talking about, man? Yeah, so Robert Diaz says it's an easier fight to make because Jojo Diaz is with Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia is with Golden Boy. All of a sudden, the fight is not hard to make. All of a sudden, a fight with Devin Haney and Matchroom and Devin Haney Promotions is hard to make. It wasn't hard to make when it was Jorge Linares. It wasn't hard to make. Well, Mango Juice, he's not even a free agent. They all fight under the DAZN broadcast. They all fight there. It wasn't hard to make when Linares signed to fight Devin Haney. That fight was signed immediately, very quickly. But for some reason with Ryan Garcia and Jojo, all of a sudden the fight is too hard to make. Jojo Diaz fought a fight that was for the right to fight for Devin Haney's Devin Haney's championship belt. Now all of a sudden it's gonna be difficult to make that fight. Why would it be difficult? A mandatory can simply say, I can go and make sure that his rights are being exercised by the WBC. Mandatories have guaranteed purses. Mandatories have guaranteed purses. Mandatories can force purse bids. A champion cannot duck a mandatory unless that champion gives up his belt. Yet here you have Robert Diaz talking nonsense about the fight is easier to make. And you heard him say, this is where fighters see which style is best suited for them and who they can beat. So it means then Robert Diaz and them are not confident that they can beat Devin Haney's style. That's what he said. I put the link in there for y'all to go and check out yourself. And while you're there, check the whole interview. I find the responses to the Devin Haney question to be most disappointing. That's why after the fight with Devin Haney, Jojo Diaz, the fight with Javier Fortuna, Jojo Diaz called out Ryan Garcia before he called out Devin Haney. ERF Boxing in the house. What's up, man?
Yo, what's good, Con?
I'm all right. I'm all right. And what's on your mind?
Nah, it's the same. It's the same thing. Different day, different fighter. The same story. Devin Haney's on that list of fighters that they're not confident. They're not confident with the skill set or their ability to beat Devin Haney, because how you got another fighter fighting for a right to fight for Devin Haney's belt, and when you win that right, you call out somebody else who hasn't got the title. Ryan Garcia did it when he called out Tank after he'd beaten Luke Campbell, saying that Devin Haney was last on his list to fight. Now Jojo Diaz wins that right to fight Devin Haney, and he calls out Ryan. When for me, Ryan's been retired this whole year. So, Devin Haney's on that list as usual. He's never going to get credit from these these fans who say, "Oh, he hasn't fought anybody," because anybody that's there to fight, that's there to fight, they don't want to fight him. So he's never going to get the credit.
The interview was so disappointing to me because I think the guy G Funky was like kind of like saying, "Oh, you see, I told y'all, fighters don't duck fighters, man. You know, it's just easier to make the fight." And I was disappointed with him because he was on with Black and Brown, and Black and Brown was taking him to task. Like, bro, what is that? And I understand him. You know, he don't want to get into no back and forth with Robert Diaz because Robert can only answer how he wants to answer. But at the same time, you gotta say, bro, that for us that don't really make sense. We want to see these guys fight Haney because it's gonna look like a duck, right?
Yep.
So to me,
Yep.
Robert Diaz is setting up a duck of Devin Haney. How is it golden by? How is it golden by? Remember, after Zerdo fought Sullivan Barrera, Oscar De La Hoya came on an interview saying, "Oh, it's an easy fight to make with Bivol. We all fight under the zone. It's a very easy fight to make. You know, we need to make the best fights for the broadcast." Yet here we are now, Jojo Diaz fought in the same card. I know it's a hard fight to make. So when it's Devin Haney,
my thing, Kong, is how is he saying the Ryan Garcia fight is easier to make than a Devin Haney? You're mandatory. That being mandatory is the easiest way to make a fight. Tell the WBC you want your shot. They grant you your shot. It's as simple as that. There's no if there's negotiation, it goes to first bids. One way or the other, that fight happens, unless Devin Haney drops the belt. So you can't tell me making a Ryan Garcia fight just because it's in-house is easier than making a mandatory fight for a world title. Because Ryan Garcia, we already know, is a diva. So he's going to want everything and anything in that fight. So you're going to have to go through negotiations and whatnot. Does Ryan want this? Will Ryan accept this? No, the Devin Haney fight is the easiest fight to make for Jojo Diaz because it's mandatory. Tell the WBC you want your shot. They will grant you your shot. That fight happens.
ERF boxing on point as usual. All I'm saying is with these guys, boxing fans gotta start getting serious with these guys. Jojo Diaz, was on with Bill Haney, by the way, on the Boxing Voice, saying, "Nah, man, Ryan ain't gonna fight me. I ain't got no offers from them. Ryan is a pussy. He's this, he's that. I want Devin, all of that." Bill Haney said, "You sure?"
Yes.
And he said, I saw that interview. The clip is still up with Jojo Diaz under Bill Haney. I saw it. Now all of a sudden, Robert Diaz is like, "Nah." In that same segment I was playing, I didn't play all. I don't want to play all. He was talking about how, I don't agree that Devin Haney is the most avoided guy. Then he goes on to give reasons why they will avoid Devin Haney. And this is not me sitting here talking to you about telling people that I'm some super Devin Haney fan. What I don't like is these sort of precedents being set where mandatories can just avoid champions. You know what I'm saying, and don't take your fight and fight other people. It's just kind of ridiculous, right? You have a situation where you're under the zone and we can't get value for money because people like Robert Diaz are talking shit about how it's an easier fight to make. As you said, a champion cannot avoid a mandatory unless he gives up his belt. He can't avoid a mandatory. It's impossible.
Yep. Exactly. There's only one way Devin Haney's going to duck a mandatory is by dropping his belt. If he drops his belt, then the story would change.
I see people
till this day. Go on.
Go ahead.
No, till this day he's held his belt and carried on holding his belt, whilst these mandatories aren't willing to fight him. I believe Ryan took the fight against Luke Campbell hoping that Devin Haney would have still been champion in recess. He took that fight hoping that Devin Haney would have still been champion in recess. But Devin Haney came back just before to get his title back. But, Ryan don't want that fight. By the sounds of it, Jojo don't want that fight because I saw the interview where Jojo was on the Boxing Voice and he's saying, yeah, I'm interested. I want that fight. We'll do it. But now the story's changed. So,
But this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is boxing, right? This is what we talk about boxing. In boxing, I find we talk more about the fights that's not gonna happen. That's what's actually gonna happen. Then I see people still talking about, oh, Devin Haney's ducking. I'm like, look, man, at some point, y'all gotta put your biases to the side and just call it what it is, right? Call it what it is. These people are not confident that they can beat Devin Haney's style. They are not confident in their ability. And these promoters do not believe in their fighter. They don't believe in their fighter. It's just disappointing that this is what we got to do. You got Richard Comey, inserting himself into the conversation, damn well knowing that Bob Arum has a Lomachenko fight for him in December. I mean, it's just a bunch of foolishness.
It's crazy how these are the same people that say Devin Haney doesn't move the needle. He's not a big fight. He's not a big draw, but yet still use his name. Yeah, you still use his name because Jojo Diaz has effectively used Devin Haney's name by fighting for that mandatory position.
Definitely.
Because you've used that. Ryan Garcia did the same thing. Richard Comey's just done the same thing by going on Twitter saying, "Oh, I'll fight you." Devin said, "Okay, let's go." And now you're in talks for a Loma fight. These guys who keep insisting on Devin Haney doesn't bring anything to the table, but Devin Haney's earning more money than most of these lightweights. These lightweights, he's earning more money than them, but yet he doesn't move the needle.
I saw somebody tell me. Why would Golden Boy play fair with Matchroom? Because Matchroom is sabotaging Golden Boy on the zone. I'm like, what the F are y'all talking about now? Matchroom is sabotaging Golden Boy promotions on the zone? Eddie Hearn is sabotaging Golden Boy? What? Is it Eddie Hearn who's out there drunk on Triller? Is it Eddie Hearn who's doing fights on telling people to subscribe to Triller? Is it Eddie Hearn? Was it Eddie Hearn? Was it Eddie Hearn who effed up his deal with his big star Canelo? Matchroom sabotage. What?
The problem with people is the hatred for Eddie Hearn because of his personality. It clouds the judgment. Because how are you going to say Eddie Hearn has done this? Eddie Hearn has delivered for the zone. That's why the zone has gone into partnership with him, because he's delivered. What has Oscar done? Oscar potentially lost them the biggest star they had by messing with Canelo's contract. Oscar also got the zone sued by Canelo simply because Oscar wouldn't adhere to his contract with Canelo. Then he goes over to Triller and basically tries to say he's leaving the zone and going on to Triller while still in contract with the zone.
Yeah, boxing as usual, on point. This is real talk. This is all real talk. This is all that happened. Oscar De La Hoya is on video saying Mike Coppinger is right. We're leaving the zone, going to Triller. Yet who's still on the zone? But Golden Boy still on the contract with the zone. So these are the reasons people are giving me why Jojo. People will do all these mental gymnastics to try and justify this duck. Now all of a sudden it's a sabotage thing. Eddie Hearn sabotaging Oscar De La Hoya with the zone and all this foolishness, right? Let me see what people are saying here. I got Haplo asking, who's the most avoided? Haney, Crawford, Andre. I don't even know. And these are three people who people keep saying don't bring nothing to the table. And all these three are bums and they ain't fought nobody. However, all three of these people have belts. And if these three people are the worst in their division, why aren't these elites then coming to knock these people off, use them as tools to take their belt?
Exactly.
I don't even know the answer to that. I would say maybe Andre, because you have the so-called cash cow of American boxing, Canelo, who seemingly is very concerned about Andre. And I don't know why, because I picked Canelo to beat Andre. I don't understand. Like, what but I would say Andre in that question.
The problem with that is, Kong, is the styles. They don't like the styles of these fighters. That's what it is.
Isn't that the point of boxing, of fighting?
I agree with you. Yep.
I'm
It is
supposed to be better than
100%.
you. I'm not supposed to be picking a fight that's favorable to my. I'm supposed to say I don't care what style it is. It could be monkey style. It could be tiger style. You know, this is why we used to watching kung fu flicks. I say my kung fu stronger than yours. You know what I'm saying? Shaolin kung fu versus the Wu Tang. All of that.
The
And
problem
no,
with boxing nowadays, Kong, is people are obsessed with power. People are obsessed with power. The guys who can actually box nowadays seem to get less credit for being able to master the sweet science of boxing. It's all about power now. All these fans, oh well, Devin Haney has no power. Yeah, but he's the best technical boxer out of the lot of them. Andre Robert. Yeah, but his style still works for him. Who was beating him?
it works. It works. It works.
Terence
Liam,
Crawford. He knocks people out, but how does Terence Crawford doesn't go into fights knocking people out because of his power? It's his skill and his speed and his accuracy what gets him the knockouts.
Liam Williams, after fighting Andre, said, you know, he underestimated him because it's like fighting him is you know really frustrating because sometimes you think you have him. And Liam said, I think he's the best out the lot because, and he says he understands why people don't want to fight him because it's gonna be crazy. It's not what you think it is. He said when you're in the ring with him, because he says when from the outside looking in, he looks awful. But when you're in the ring with him, it's different. He says it's different. It's not the same. And here you have Robert Diaz setting up a duck. Let me see. Tone says they could have asked, you know, they could have took Diaz to task for those comments, but it seems these YouTube content providers would rather preserve relation. I mean, hey, they should have said, hey, man, we don't really like that, bro. You need to tell us what's up, you know. But a lot of these dudes sometimes have their favorites also. You know, they might like Ryan, they might like Golden Boy. And I guess they can only ask the questions and Robert Diaz answers, and we get a chance to take, you know, we get a chance to speak up. I guess they don't
My
want to
thing
get
is,
Robert.
if this was the other way around, if Dillian White was refusing to take the Deontay Wilder fight, he would be get called a duck and everything under the sun
Oh
as
my
a
God.
mandatory, refusing to take his fight with Don. He would now it's Devin Haney. These guys. Oh well, Haney doesn't move the needle. Well, if he doesn't move the needle, then if Jojo is such a great fighter and believes he can beat him, take his belt, and you start moving the needle. Then.
Man, I'm just saying, it's like, you know, man, boxing, man. Anyway, but that was my Robert Diaz segment. If you want to see the whole interview, go to D Style Boxing. It's an interview done by G Funky and Maestro. You know, there was a lot covered. Charlo and Canelo. Robert Diaz said, yes, indeed, Charlo did turn down an offer from Canelo before. It's a lot covered in that interview. So go and check it out. Overall, it was pretty well done. I just wanted to deal with the Devin Haney situation because this is the epitome of why boxing keeps failing. It keeps getting in its own way. This is it. Anyway, what's in the chat? Mango Juice said, I think Boo Boo is still the most ducked, but Devin Haney's list is growing. I agree. You have people simply turning down 7 million and the cash cow of American boxing saying, oh, I'll never fight you. And this is why boxing media is non-existent. There's no real boxing media. It's just Dan Rafael in America, and that's it. And Dan Rafael don't really make it out to these fights, these press conferences. And because in the NBA and the NFL, you see reporters getting into back and forth with coaches. Could you imagine real media asking these guys these questions? Real media asking Robert Diaz tough questions about Devin Haney. You know what I mean? But YouTubers, this is how they eat. This is how someone get their super chats and all of that. So I'm not going to jump too much on these guys, man. I mean, I'm going to do what I got to. I'm never going to get no interview with nobody. I'm a microcosm, micro spec channel. I got my grand total here, 8 viewers. Hit the like, by the way. I need 8 likes. I need my 8 likes. But these guys are big channels who get interviews. I'm never gonna get no interview. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is, man. That's boxing for you. Tone says we live in an age where you can have one of the 4 major belts, yet still be on the who needs him list. Exactly. And nobody's asking these people no questions. Nobody's putting them to task. It's ridiculous. This is why I got to keep bigging up Oluwafemi over there in England, the 2-time unified champion, because I never hear Anthony Joshua say, I don't like his style. I'll never fight you. Never hear that yet.
Even when the media was saying, "Oh, he's gonna drop his WBO belt so he doesn't have to fight Usyk."
Oh man, Anthony
Joshua said, "I haven't gone and collected these to go and drop them because of some fighter. No, I'm in this game to fight everybody. Every challenger is welcome. Everyone."
Anthony Joshua said, tiger style, eagle claw, doggy style, it don't matter. AJ in 6. Let me tell you something. You know what I'm saying? I got to respect the man. I got to respect him. I don't know what's going to happen with Joshua and Usyk. I pick Joshua to win, but I'm going to continue to respect Oluwafemi because he ain't do none of this nonsense. I ain't never see Anthony Joshua sitting in no friggin' press conference and tell no challenger, yo, I'm never going to fight you. When Big Baby in my picture, free Big Baby, by the way, y'all got, get my guy fighting.
Big Baby needs to free some other babies.
Oh, come on. So even when Big Baby was talking all this nonsense, Joshua never said, I'm never going to fight you. Never said that. He came to America and he was going to fight Jarrell Miller. As disrespectful as Jarrell Miller was when AJ was at the DAZN launch with Povetkin, as disrespectful as he was, Anthony Joshua did not tell Jarrell Miller, I'm never going to fight you. Demetrius Andrade was extremely respectful to Canelo. Extremely respectful. And Canelo disrespected that man and said, I'm never going to fight you. That's why I'm going to continue to respect Oluwafemi. I'm going to continue to respect Oluwafemi. Because he never told him, I'm never going to fight you. Any style, camel style, tiger style, Wu-Tang style, doggies, it don't matter. Missionary style, AJ in 6.
Yeah, AJ stops him.
Raphael,
AJ's got that bit back between his teeth where he ain't taking no nonsense off anybody. You get in that ring with him, his aim is to knock you out. His aim is to stop these fighters now. I think he's fed up with the disrespect. He's the only heavyweight out there doing what a heavyweight champion is supposed to do. And he's still getting disrespected. So I feel it. He has that, you know what? Put him in front of me, I'm going to knock him out. I feel sorry for these heavyweights now who gets in with him.
Listen. I'm going to continue to respect that man because that man ain't never pulled no diva shit on nobody. And I respect it. Who else is in the chat with me? Rafi just coming. What's up, Rafi?
What's up, Rafi?
In the house. Big up Tone who was in there. Everybody there. Everybody in here. What else? What are we talking about? Oh, so Canelo. I was going to do a little piece on Canelo at 160 and 168. It is my opinion that Canelo Alvarez would have been a better run to me at 160, becoming undisputed. But some people are saying at 168 it's better. So today I want to quickly run through Canelo Alvarez at 160, Canelo Alvarez at 168. We're talking about what would have been the better undisputed run, a Canelo 160 or a Canelo 168. That's what we're talking about here today. So, here, if you want to add anything else to what I was saying before.
No, let's move on.
Right. Anybody who want to jump on now because I'm gonna be doing some share screens, so we could discuss this thing. So Canelo Alvarez came over to the zone and he fought Rocky Fielding. That was his first fight at the zone. He fought Rocky Fielding. Now Canelo Alvarez, that was his first move up to 168. That was for a WBA regular title at 168. He was still fighting at 160 at the time officially, right? So we're going to go now and we're going to deal with Canelo Alvarez at 160, 160 pounds, middleweight. Let's go. We're going to pull up Canelo Alvarez's box weight. Saul Alvarez. And we're going to move. Abs in the house. Blessed King. What's going on?
So 160.
Right. So Canelo Alvarez fought Rocky Fielding. This was his first fight at 168-ish. He won Rocky Fielding's belt. Before that, he had his 2 fights with Gennady Golovkin at 160. Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he went on to face Danny Jacobs for Danny Jacobs' IBF belt. Danny Jacobs had just beaten Sergey Deverenchenko for his 160 belt. Danny Jacobs took a very close loss to Gennady Golovkin for a WBA regular belt or something. So Danny Jacobs had the IBF. Canelo had the WBC and the WBA. The WBC and the WBA. Yes?
Yep.
Move on. So he beat Danny Jacobs and took the IBF. He ended up being stripped of the IBF a little bit after, because I guess they couldn't get their ducks in a row to fight Sergey, to fight the mandatory, which was supposed to be, again, Sergey Deverenchenko for some reason, right? I don't know how he keeps being in these positions, Sergey. Anyway, it didn't happen. During that same time, Demetrius Andrade was and still is the 160 WBO champion. At that time, all middleweight belts were at the zone. Every single one was at the zone. And Canelo Alvarez had 2, then he had 3. Between this time, the Danny Jacobs and the Sergey fight, there was the opportunity to fight Demetrius Andrade here. This could have been Andrade. He chose not to fight Andrade, went to 175, beat Kovalev for his WBO belt, dropped the belt, and since that has not come back to 160 pounds. Right? Now, people are telling me, what was the point of him fighting Andrade when it couldn't be for undisputed? And I said, I don't understand. It would have taken him the same amount of time to become undisputed at 160 than it did at 168. Right? Yep. He could have fought and beat Andrade and then swung back around to fight for the IBF belt, because you still would have owed the IBF a fight anyway. Right? So either you fight Deverenchenko now or you fight whoever after for the IBF. Either way, you still owe the IBF a fight.
Well, the IBF wouldn't turn down a undisputed fight for, even if it was a vacant belt at the time, where it'd be Deverenchenko. Obviously, if he was a mandatory at the time and the belt got stripped, it'd have been Deverenchenko versus Canelo for undisputed.
Okay.
If he was to beat Andrade.
Let's not forget, Sergey ended up fighting Golovkin for the IBF belt. That's why Golovkin is the IBF champ now. So either way, Canelo could have fought Andrade for the WBO and then swung back around to fight for the IBF. Either way, you owe the IBF one fight. It could have been as your mandatory, or after Andrade, it could have been for the undisputed. The excuse to me of it didn't make sense fighting Andrade, but you fight Kovalev for a belt that you wasn't going to hold anyway, doesn't hold water. He could have fought Andrade and swung back around and been the undisputed champion within, let me see, Danny Jacobs, within 1, 2, 3 fights. 3 fights. You would have been undisputed champion within 3 fights, all the belts under the very same broadcast network. 3 fights. Danny Jacobs, because remember, Canelo had the WBC and WBA. Danny Jacobs had the IBF. 1 fight, Danny Jacobs. Okay, you get stripped to the IBF. Okay, you fight Andrade. 2 fights. You become WBC, WBA, WBO. You swing back around and fight for the IBF belt. 3 fights. Within 3 fights, Canelo Alvarez could have been the undisputed 160-pound champion of the world. Let me stop sharing. Let me see if anybody have anything in the
Yeah, but surely he wouldn't have got stripped if it was undisputed, because undisputed. I'm sure the IBF would have allowed an exception for Andrade versus Canelo for undisputed, and they wouldn't have stripped him of the IBF belt.
I didn't hear that. Sorry. I didn't hear that. Sorry. I was adjusting.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, obviously Canelo beat Jacobs, so he had 3 titles.
Yes.
He got stripped after the Jacobs fight because Derevyanchenko wasn't fighting Derevyanchenko. But if he was to fight Andrade, he wouldn't have been stripped. It'd have been for undisputed.
Right.
So he wouldn't have even needed. He wouldn't have even needed 3. Yeah, he wouldn't have even needed 3 fights. He'd have needed. He wouldn't have needed. He'd have done it in one fight.
So there you go.
He'd have been undisputed.
So,
but looking at the run, yeah, go on.
So we've just broke down the 160 run. Mm-hmm. Fine, you didn't get the IBF because you got stripped. Maybe Golden Boy messed up the time. IBF is very strict. Whatever, they strip you. Okay, cool, no problem. You fight Andrade, then swing back around and fight whoever has the belt at that time. For me, it would have been easier to make all of those fights. And to me, that run of fights would have been much more, in my opinion, much more valuable than the 168 fights. But we'll move on to the 168 fights. ERF, go ahead.
No, well, I'll let you go through the 168 run first before I say what I was going to say.
Let's move to 168. We're gonna go back into the box rec, and we're gonna talk about the 168 run. Okay. Hold on. How the hell you? Oh, my bad. As we have said, his first step into the 168 was against Rocky Fielding, who came and laid down in Madison Square Garden. I'll never forget it. Rocky Fielding came over, got punched in his belly, and he laid down. Since that time, I don't think we've seen Rocky Fielding again.
And that's not even the worst Rocky Fielding performance I've seen.
I'm sorry, if it was.
I watched live. I went to Callum Smith versus Rocky Fielding when Callum Smith stopped him in 30 seconds.
Jesus, what a
guy! I remember that fight. I was like, "What the hell?"
Now here we go. He ended up not coming back to 160 to 160 after the Sergey fight, and he moved officially. Said he wants to go to 168. He ends up trying to fight. I think he was trying to fight Callum all the time, then Billy, and it was back and forth. They couldn't get a fight. Then he finally fought Callum Smith. We had COVID, and he fought Callum Smith on the 19th of December, 2020. Now, Callum Smith is somebody who won the World Boxing Super Series. Mm-hmm. He was the Ring Magazine WBA Super Champ. Callum Smith, on his resume, I guess would have the best win would be George Groves.
Yeah.
George Groves in the World Boxing Super Series for the WBA belt. George Groves was a very tidy fighter. Some people say he was injured. That's not Callum Smith's fault. You understand? He beat George Groves, whatever. And he got the World Boxing Super Series, the Ring Magazine belt, and the WBA belt. So Callum Smith comes in, Canelo Alvarez beats him in a unanimous decision, and people say, "Oh, Callum Smith didn't put up no competition." I agree. Callum looked awful in that fight. He looked limited. He looked whatever, but that was the win nonetheless. Callum had his accomplishments. Some people don't really rate them, but that's not Callum's fault. He fought Callum Smith. He won a Ring Magazine and WBA. Moves on to fight Avni Yildirim. Now, the Avni Yildirim fight came about because somehow Avni Yildirim was the mandatory to David Benavidez in the WBC.
Go
ahead.
The Yildirim fight, I don't even give Canelo heat for that, because that was done way before Canelo got that belt. So he had to fight the guy to keep that belt. So the Yildirim thing, yeah.
He fights Avni Yildirim. Avni Yildirim was David Benavidez' mandatory. The Avni Yildirim fight came because, the Callum Smith fight also was for the WBC belt. I forgot to add that. The WBC threw in that belt as a unification. Why? Because Eddie Hearn was also trying to get the Avni Yildirim fight for Callum Smith when David Benavidez lost his belt, because Callum was the WBC mandatory and the second mandatory to Avni Yildirim. Remember, Avni Yildirim had pissed hot, and the WBC did not strip him of the mandatory status. They kept him there. And Eddie Hearn was saying, well, let Callum Smith fight Avni Yildirim in unification.
Yeah, because Callum Smith was a diamond champion at that point.
Right. Canelo Alvarez, before fighting Callum Smith, him and his team requested to fight Avni Yildirim. Right? This was before he fought Callum, to fight Avni Yildirim for the WBC belt. He wasn't trying to fight Callum. He was trying to fight Avni for the WBC belt. If anybody disbelieves me, I can share the article where the WBC said,
I remember that.
Canelo Alvarez and his team wrote in to request to fight Avni Yildirim for the WBC belt. What ended up happening was a compromise was found. Eddie Hearn and Canelo agreed for Callum Smith to fight Canelo Alvarez for the WBA, Ring Magazine, and the WBC belt, with the agreement that they will fight Avni Yildirim right after.
Yeah, the winner fights Yildirim. Right. Yep.
Canelo beats Avni Yildirim, beats Callum, gets the belt, fights Avni Yildirim as the mandatory. He moves on in a couple of months after to fight Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders had a decent 160 resume, but it was capped off by his ped bust against goddamn Demetrius Andrade, and then he ducked Demetrius Andrade to go to 168 to fight Shefat Isufi for the WBO vacant belt that Zerdo Ramirez vacated.
Yep.
That was Billy Joe's record at 168. Shefat Isufi. You understand? Here you have Canelo Alvarez now have to fight Billy Joe Saunders for his WBO belt. Billy Joe Saunders pissed hard against Andrade, then ducked Andrade at 160 the second time, fought for a vacant belt, and now he's suddenly in a Billy Joe. He had a win against Martin Murray in December the year before. Yeah. That's Billy Joe Saunders' record at 168. So Canelo Alvarez fights 1, 2 fights, 3 fights. He's still not undisputed. Still not undisputed. He's now fought 3 fights. He's still not undisputed. He has another fight to make with Caleb Plant, who is with the PBC, who we've now seen that fight ain't gonna happen soon. Whoever fault it is, that's not what we're talking about today. Let's talk about Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's best win, in my opinion, is Caleb Truax. Why is it Caleb Truax? Because Caleb Truax beat a washed up James DeGale. Caleb Truax is with the PBC. The fight ain't gonna happen ever or no time soon. So Canelo Alvarez would take 4 fights to become undisputed in 168, but refuse to take 3 fights to become undisputed maximum at 160. In my opinion, the 161 would have been easier to do, and the 161 would have been much more valuable. That's my argument. I'm looking to hear what anybody else has to say.
Yeah. Well, you're looking at the 160 run and the 168 run. You're looking at who he's beat for those belts. And that's really 2 fighters in both, really. You're looking at Golovkin and Jacobs versus Callum Smith and Billy Joe. Because those are the guys that he won the belts off in both those runs. Yeah, Billy Joe didn't do anything at 168. At 160 he was decent, but he was meant to. Was it 54? Was it 60? He was meant to fight. Yeah, 60 he was meant to fight Andre. He moves up 168. He just didn't do anything of note. He just had that belt because Frank bought him that belt. Yeah, the 161 would have been more impressive. Beating Golovkin and Jacobs and then Andrade for an undisputed, for me, is better than beating Callum Smith, Billy Joe, and Caleb Plant. I think those 3, for me, is better opponents.
Let me bring in 1-2 Kid. What's up, 1-2 Kid?
Hey, what's up, Kong? How you doing,
What's
man?
up,
Seen you
1-2?
was live, hopped on, saw Earth, and we got the Flame in the building. What's up, Black?
What the great Black? What's up, bro?
What's up? What's up?
What's up?
So I'm looking to hear y'all comments on anything I said. I gave y'all my argument. I gave y'all my reasoning. I want to hear anybody disagree. School disagree with me. Go ahead. Give me y'all advice. Go ahead.
Shit, I think you covered all bases, bro. Like, I can't argue with any of them statements that you made. I agree with you. I agree with what you said.
Yep.
I mean, shit. What is there to debate?
Right. Who disagree with you?
What's
Who
that?
disagree with you, Iron
Kong?
Kong?
Sorry, ERF, you were saying something?
No, I was just asking the panel, which run do you think would be better, the 160 or the 168?
He said 60, man.
No, well, he's asking y'all.
I'm asking y'all.
Oh, I agree with Kong. 160, hands down. He just talked about it. Caleb, Caleb Plant's best victories over Caleb Truax. Who the fuck is that guy? Who else? That WBC belt was pretty much thrown in there, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
with
Yep.
Smith, right?
With
Yes.
Smith,
Right.
yep.
Yeah.
At 160, he won the WBC off Triple G, correct? Or he already had, yeah. So he won it off Triple G. He had it at first, lost it, then won it back.
Yeah.
From Triple G. He got the IBF off of Danny Jacobs and the WBA. Who's his WBA victory over? Forgot. Did he get them both off Triple G? He got them both off Triple G.
No, yeah, he got them both. Yeah, he got them
Oh,
both
yeah,
off Triple G. Yeah, he
it's
got
one-
the WB and the W. Yeah.
It's 160 hands down, man.
Yep.
It's 160 hands down, man. Who got a better resume than Triple G at 68? Just saying, like off, even though
No. Yeah, when you're comparing the two, you're comparing Triple G to Callum Smith in that.
I'm just saying, when you look at the caliber opponents at 68 and then you look at the caliber opponents at 60, look at the resumes at 60, the guys that he took down compared to the ones at 68.
Yeah.
Yep.
I ain't never been a Smith fan, Shout out to him for getting in there, but I ain't never been big on him,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never been big on that dude. I knew that was gonna be his cupcake. I was like, yeah, he's
You
gonna
said
fight
that.
him.
Yeah, you said that from before that fight, a year before that fight got made, I think.
Yeah, I was like,
sure
yeah,
enough.
he gonna fight that dude. But I mean, it just sucks that we're not gonna get it undisputed from the looks of it, And then, we might get a Bivol fight. Hopefully Bivol been training.
Nah, I mean, I doubt Bill will take the fight. It's not enough time, man, for him to cut weight for this catch weight that I guess Canelo is trying to, offer him. And I don't think it's just not enough time for him to prepare.
You know what bothers me about that though? I see a lot of people posting the Bivol statement that he made in 2020 about how he said he'll fight at 168, but they weren't posting that comment when he wanted to fight.
Right, and it ain't like he said, I'll take the fight on 4-week notice. I'm pretty sure he expected a full training camp.
Right. And now with like 3 weeks, they're like, yeah, he said it. So y'all just hating on Canelo. It's like, damn, man, y'all can't read in between the lines. Like, you can't see what the fuck is happening, right? Like now these articles is coming up, and now everybody want to talk about Bivol, and I think that's just kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? It's a narrative.
Everybody catching heat but Canelo, man. Everybody deflect and say, oh, it's Bivol fault, oh, it's Plant fault. Instead of just looking at the pattern of how Canelo move, man, and how he select these opponents and the timing.
No, I agree with you that he do move fucked up. But when it comes to the Plant shit, I don't know about that shit. That's shit's shitty both ways. I'm like, come on, man. Like, both of them dudes is giving up ample opportunity to be great in that whole situation. And, because of egos. That's the only thing that's keeping that fight from happening. And the fact that PBC want to sign that motherfucker. That's what they're doing. Like everybody else.
Yes, sir.
I'm just like, the reason why I did this is because I've been on a couple of streams and I see people talk. I'm like, well, how? I'm not understanding how 168 is better. 160, the mandatory for the WBC would have been Jamal Charlo, and you had for 160, and you had people were really telling me, and I'll do another video because the whole Canelo and PBC thing, I didn't get on Canelo too much because I've seen this before from PBC. I've seen it multiple times from PBC, where they F their own guys over and they act like it's somebody else's fault. I've seen it before. I've seen how Canelo acts, where he does all these weird catch weights and all this diva shit. There's a lot of flame to go around. But what I wanted to talk about this 168, 160 thing, because people are talking as if like this is something new, like in terms of, oh, he's going for undisputed at one. I said, well, he had the chance to that 160, where the competition was much tougher. You know what I'm saying? And somebody has to justify to me, rather than telling me, oh, it wouldn't have made sense for him to fight Andrade because it wouldn't have been for undisputed. The excuse can't be that when you're now taking longer to fight to become undisputed, where there you could have done it in 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah. And on top of that, the WBO is a piece of the puzzle to be undisputed, whether the IBF has anything to do with it. So what you're doing is you're knocking out one of the things that you need to do to be undisputed. So what does Derevyanchenko got to do with him fighting Demetrius Andre?
Like, deflections, man.
Yeah, it's like, well, it wouldn't have been for undisputed because Derevyanchenko did this and ducked him or whatever. And it's like, but he still needed the WBO.
Still need the WBO, man.
Yeah, it's like, damn, to be undisputed. So it wouldn't have been for undisputed. It's like, that's not the point. He still need that fight.
Yeah.
Hey, Haplo, I don't care no franchise. He took the franchise. He took it. He didn't have to take the franchise. He didn't have to. He took the franchise. So so he could have still become undisputed within 3 fights. He didn't have to take the franchise.
Or he could have been, or he could have became the disputed undisputed like T.O. and just said I'm undisputed with the franchise belt or some shit.
Yeah, but whatever. But look, so in case anybody is watching this video, if you have anything to disagree with me about Canelo and his 160 to 168 runs, please put it in the comment section. I don't mind disagreements, but I just don't think the 168 run is better than the 160. And the 168 run is not even going to be complete. 160 could have been done and over with long time ago. Easy work.
Easy.
Because I don't think nobody at 160 could beat Canelo. That's my opinion.
Especially since Andrade was a horrible fighter. That should have just been, easy.
Horrible fighter. I don't, because as much as I talk about Andrade, I don't pick Andrade to beat Canelo. I don't pick Andrade to beat Canelo. So
Me neither. That's the funny thing about it.
Right. Yeah.
They think we fanboys at Andre.
Right.
We just want to see that man get the shot. He is a champ,
Right.
man. But you know, that's how that go. That man went to 68 and he still ain't closed the deal on Undisputed yet. So
Right.
either way.
Exactly. That's just my opinion. 160 would have been a better run, the easier run to make. What's y'all opinion on Robert Diaz though? What's y'all opinion?
Horse shit, like 1-2 Kid be saying. Straight up.
One thing you heard Robert Diaz?
Bells don't matter and all that dumb shit. Same shit Ryan be talking. Cap.
One thing you heard the Robert Diaz interview?
I did not.
You didn't?
No.
Oh well,
Yeah.
let me just play the last part with the Devin ERF. You still there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you can jump in anytime, you know. You don't have to. You know,
Yeah, no,
I know
I'm cool. I'll say my piece. It's okay.
Nice to meet you, ERF, man. I ain't never been on panel
Yeah.
with you, but shout out to you.
No problem.
No
So
doubt.
I'm gonna play this this debacle of an interview here. Let me see. We're gonna play the last thing I played here with when he was asked about who Jojo gonna fight, Haney or Ryan.
So let's look at the Jojo Diaz picture because I'm getting questions about it in the chat. You know, Devin Haney on one side, Ryan Garcia on the other. If it's even, let's just call it 50-50. Or what do you think? Is it 60%? He might be going to Ryan, 40% he might be going to Haney. Is it 50-50? Is it 70-30? What are your thoughts?
I mean, obviously, when we sit down with him, him and his team are going to have a lot to say. Each fighter knows what style they're suited for, what style's better for them, who they feel they can be. I think when I sit down with Jojo, when we sit down, he's going to say, I don't care. I can beat both of them because that's just Jojo. But it's no secret. I mean, which fight is going to be easier to make? Right. Ryan Garcia, because he's with Golden Boy. So it's easier. And it's not about, they're just keeping it in out. No, it's easier to make when you're dealing with somebody, you know, the contracts and the demands are going to be, you know what, within the reason and within the ability to make a fight.
Tripping, bro. Fuck out of here, man.
So, you don't want the fucking title?
You don't want the title, man. It's easier to make. So he basically, you know, earlier on Cone, I think you played more where he talked about, you know, he set it up by saying the belts don't matter, and then now you're saying it's easier to make. It's all about just seeing good fights, not you know, people becoming champions. So it's like he devalue.
Give me a time. Go ahead. Okay. I'm gonna be gone for a second.
No doubt. It's almost like he's devaluing being a champ and just saying, you know what, we just need to just focus on making these exciting fights. It doesn't matter if it's a championship fight or not. So I guess he set that up to be like, you know, hey, Ryan and Jojo, that's a great fight. Doesn't matter that there's no title on the line or that they're one of them guys are next in line as a mandatory. This is the fight fans want to see. So I guess that's the question. Do fans want to see Jojo versus Ryan more than Ryan and Jojo stepping up to face Devin Haney as a champ? That's the question.
I'll tell you what the question is isn't Devin Haney and Lomachenko in talks?
I mean, first it was co-made. Yeah, first it was co-made, then Devin Haney. I did see that headline though, 1-2 Kid. Like
what I'm trying to say is if Lomachenko fights Haney, like, and JoJo's fighting Ryan, which fight you gonna watch?
Oh, right. It is Devin and Loma for sure.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's like, what fight am I gonna watch? And that would elevate Haney in my eyes to fight a Lomachenko, you know, win or lose, than to fight a Jojo Diaz or a Ryan Garcia at this moment in time. So I mean, and this isn't hate, this is just a fact. Like, who do you think Jojo or Ryan beats Lomachenko?
No, I don't think either of them beats Haney. So
well, then,
definitely
right. Like, people can argue certain shit, but what I'm trying to say is these dudes Now this is a big fight. I think that's a bigger fight. I think Jojo and Ryan might be a fun fight, but for what though? What are you stalling to jump on that WBC championship for? Why are you stalling?
Y'all seeing
I
this?
don't understand.
Yeah,
My
I see
thing
that.
is
November.
November, he'll be back.
Okay. So that means he need to announce an opponent within this next week or two, give them a good full training camp. Y'all start enrolling Nevada and get it on, man. Whatever. Do you now what's the chance, Iron Cone, you think it'll be possibly playing again, or do you think it's gonna be another opponent in
Well,
75?
I think it'll be Bivol. I think
it'll be Bivol. It'll be. I think the
So-
plan is sale.
So moving into November, that's not enough time for him to negotiate and try to come to an agreement for undisputed 68.
I believe that's the reason why it's been moved, because the Plant fight isn't happening. I think that's the whole reason why it's been moved to November. If the Plant fight was going to happen, they wouldn't have moved it to November, because Plant's been training, right? He's had his full training camp for this. He should be ready. They both should be. It was on the same path, right?
Do y'all think the Plant is injured?
Where did you get that from? One, two. That now we just making up shit. Like, if we're gonna say that, like, why would you think he injured?
Well, because that's why it didn't go through, right?
Because
he
Plant
said-
is.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it makes more sense to me that he might be injured.
Yeah, what you're saying, 1-2, is I get what you're saying, because the stumbling block was if Plant gets injured and can't fight, then
sick.
Canelo get sick or whatever, injured, whatever. Canelo gets the same money for a different opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And
but
that was the stumbling block. So I don't understand why
gets sick. Plant gotta wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
it's not a fact. It's just a thought. It just hit me right.
I don't understand why that's a sticking point.
Don't you think they will come out with that 1-2 kid, like Canelo's side? Don't you think they will put that out there? That hasn't come out, man. So I haven't heard that at all.
Why would Plant side tell him he was injured?
Where did you get that from?
Nah, I just thought about it, because that was the bump in the road was the contract, and now it's pushed to November. So I'm like, maybe that man injured his hand or some shit, because everyone's using an excuse of COVID and being sick. That seems to be a new thing, like a shoulder injury. So I'm just saying, like, it could be.
I don't know, man. It's almost like we got to bring back Flame to Plant or back Flame to Bivol. Like, we were just talking about that. So Canelo's moving the date. He said first he was going to do September, but because he couldn't come up to agreement with the PBC side for his September date, now he's moving it to November, huh?
That ain't Flame. If the man injured, he injured. I'm just
How do you know? You making that up? You didn't get that from nowhere.
Right. I didn't get it from anywhere.
All right, so that's hypothetical. Like, that's not a
it's
fact.
Hypothetical, but it's hypothetical. But if you add it to what the fuck is happening, it could be a possibility. That's all I'm saying. Shit, I can't have a thought. Shit, what the fuck?
You can have a thought. I just thought I just say we've been dropping sources and looking at articles and things like that. And if it came up, then I'd be like, okay, well, maybe he has an injury, but that's just, that's kind of left field a little bit to me. But if you feel that way, you can feel that way.
No, I'll just say it's just a thought that dawned on me. That's all.
All right. But what if in November, right? He don't visit the Plant fight? Then what?
Same
I don't
thing.
think that's happening. That's my opinion. I don't think it's happening.
Nah, the Plant fight ain't happening. It's been moved to November because of the Bivol, to give Bivol time.
Remember, we just said at least give Bivol enough time to lose the weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think that's the issue. Bivol is saying, give me my time to lose my weight properly. I don't think we're gonna see the Plant fight ever. No.
So why would did you see recently Iron Kong when they were asking Eddie Hearn? He was on Akin Barak. Now the interview was when they asked what's next for Devin Haney. I think that's the title of the video. And I didn't even expect to hear nothing about Canelo, but they asked him in that interview, on that video. Basically he said that not saying that it's off, but maybe it could still happen.
I saw the interview, and Eddie's saying, and I agree with Eddie, it doesn't have to be dead. We could still readjust and try something again. But remember, Eddie also said he's not involved in no conversation because remember, Eddie and these dudes don't get along, and he don't want to be the reason, whatever. So, but he's saying, in his opinion, the fight shouldn't be dead. You could still try and go over the issues and work around it. Me, Black, I am saying, because I've seen this before with these PBC dudes. This fight's not gonna happen. What will happen is that they're gonna start the narrative of, yeah, man, Caleb Plant is the most duck guy, and all of this and all this, and Canelo duck Caleb Plant, and that's gonna be enough for Caleb Plant, and that's gonna give him a little bit more bump, and they're gonna make another fight with Caleb Plant and use that as clout. That's just my opinion. It's not because I've seen this before with PBC, Black. I've seen it before. I've seen this shit. PBC fighters like to use controversy. Like, people will send them offers, and they will come on and be like, "Oh, look at this bullshit ass offer. I ain't taking this shit." And then they'll use it as clout. Look at Jamal Charlo with Andrade. Look at Adrian Broner. All these people, they get offers, and they never actually take the fight that's offered to them, but use it as like clout. I've seen
That's
this
true.
game before.
All that is facts. But with Iron Kong saying that, I also notice patterns from Canelo. There's always about 3 or 4 names thrown up in the runnings to get the Canelo lottery fight. And then next thing you know, oh, this guy declined. He ducked Canelo. Oh, this guy ducked Canelo. Next thing you know, 4 weeks to go before fight day, and then all of a sudden, a mysterious opponent steps in. Here we go. This was Canelo about to fight. This guy actually took the fight. So I see that. But all the time, it's like a 4-week training camp. It's like short notice, and he's looking to get the upside, the over advantage over the opponent. So all that's facts about PBC. I'm not debating that. I know how they move. I flamed them for fucking years, but I know how Canelo moved too. So, once again, I'm staying focused on, is this man going to be undisputed or he pump fake twice? Let me know for sure if this man left 68 all the way, or if he just like, okay, they going to get it down the line or something, down later on in the year. Because I thought it was undisputed, y'all. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I hear you. It's a case of two sides. Like you said, Canelo does the same stuff over and over again. But dealing with a PBC but when dealing with a PBC, when it comes to issues like they want to get a certain amount or certain thing when their fighter really don't deserve that. What has Caleb Plant done to deserve anything? So yeah, I get what you say. So you've got the bad and the bad. You've got two sides.
The worst and worst of this shit. Yeah.
This was not gonna happen. This Black is right. This is why when the fight was like, oh, Caleb Plant, I was like, in the back of my head, I was like, this fight not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So as Black said, you got this dude who likes to have his own way with everything, and you got the PBC who's like, it's like
they fucking, they ego is higher than where they at. You know what I mean? And so I already know what it is.
It's not gonna happen. It's just, this is why I say 160 was more valuable and it was easy. 3 fights and you're undisputed. 3 fights.
And all 3 fights was on the zone. All 3 fights were on the zone. It's a checkmate.
It's just a checkmate. Good video. Good live outcome. This is a checkmate. It's 160 would have been the better, easier, more commendable, respectable path for undisputed for Canelo. And he could have been pursuing his second. But we're not having that convo right now. Just not happening.
Sure not.
Nope.
But
it ain't happening.
I ain't got much else to talk about, gents. Anything from y'all want to talk about? Anything?
Shit. No, that's it. Tone came in and said Canelo negotiating with the PBC. What could possibly go wrong? Right.
Exactly, bro. This was, I mean,
yeah, man. What could go wrong? It's just PBC. Come on now.
Really, bro. I mean,
Hey, can we say that as far as diva, being the biggest diva, maybe Canelo met his match?
Hey,
yeah, 100%.
You couldn't out diva PBC maybe in this situation.
No. I mean, let me tell you something. One thing I must say with Al Heyman, all his fighters feel like they A-side. It don't matter what it is.
Oh God.
1 belt, 2 belts, 3 belts, it don't even matter. You with PBC, you A side. For better or for worse. You know
I'm
what
my
saying?
own promoter.
Exactly.
Yeah. I never
Exactly.
got in the office. Speak to Al.
Call out.
You better call out.
You want to fight? Come to the Wilder fight. Come to the Wilder fight.
Meet me at the Wilder fight. Right.
Bro. Anyway. But that's
But
it
when
for-
you getting it, but when you getting it from both sides, Kong, then we ain't gonna get no fights.
that's what it
Exactly.
is.
Right.
However,
That's fucking
Exactly.
That's why I kind of prefer, I refrained from jumping on Canelo because I've seen this so much time with PBC. Like I've seen the same thing where at least with Canelo, you know he's gonna fight at least somebody, whether or not it's gonna be catch weights or whatever. But with PBC, it's like, okay, so Caleb Plant don't fight Canelo. Bro, who's Caleb Plant gonna fight next? Real talk.
He's gonna lose to David
He gonna
Benavidez.
fucking fight Andre Durrell or somebody, man. Y'all know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be some.
Y'all know what it is.
That's what, like at least with Canelo, he's gonna find some way to get somebody, right?
He
It's
gonna
be
get
a
his
nice
big
fight.
fight. It just
It's
ain't
gonna
gonna
be-
be fun disputed.
Right. It's gonna be a big fight, but it's gonna be something else, right?
It's gonna be
But
something else.
PBC, like Wilder turned on the Joshua fight. Who was the fight after that? Was it Luis Ortiz the second time?
Yep. On pay-per-view.
On pay-per-view. It's like Kawanaki turns down Anthony Joshua. Who did he fight? Robert Helenius and gets knocked out.
Got stopped.
Yep.
It's kind of lopsided. Like it's like at least Canelo is gonna fight somebody. He gonna work something on him. And he gonna get the fight. PBC, their fighter gets the shot end of the stick all the time.
The thing is, Canelo's gonna get his money no matter whether it's Plant or Bivol. He's gonna get his 40.
Yeah, of course. He gonna get 5 times. He gonna get 4 or 5 times Plant net worth in his next fight.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And Plant ain't gonna get. Plant will barely get a mil to fight Durrell.
Hell no, he ain't getting mil for that.
You know what I mean? So what PBC, like Kong says, PBC screw themselves every time. They try to strong arm shit when you ain't got a strong arm. Why are you trying to strong arm? You're gonna lose.
No, it's just a narrative, man. It's a narrative. They just pushing the narrative, and the narrative is, the PBC is putting up the 50 mil for the fight, and it's like they don't got the 50 mil without Canelo's name.
Bro,
period.
I had somebody come on.
Yeah.
Rafi. Where's Rafi?
Hey.
Rafi. And this dude told me Caleb Plant is the A side. So who's Caleb Plant A side?
Okay.
Oh, because Caleb Plant is the one putting up the 40 million. I was like, what?
Hey,
there's a
gotta have a combo with Ralphie.
There's a reason why PBC put up that 40 mil because they know they're gonna get money back on.
Hey,
Canelo.
but look, I said the same thing, low key. I said really PBC the A side in this situation. Like I said that low key, but people don't see it that way. That's cool though. But based on what Canelo need, and they putting up the bread, and it's gonna be on their side of just come on, man. That is a side.
Yeah, Canelo's allowing him to do that because he's getting what he wants. The A side is actually getting what he wants. But
he's accepting it because he's getting what he wants. But at the end of the day, y'all see what it is. It's PBC pay-per-view. He was just fighting on the app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the reason
you gotta get that.
Yeah, but the reason it's a pay-per-view and it may be as successful and it may be the 50 mil is because Canelo was on the venue.
Bro.
So what Canelo's saying is, listen, if this man can't make the fight, you still got to pay me because otherwise I wouldn't be over here if it wasn't for Undisputed. So you got to pay me top notch, top dollar. And they're like, well, if you don't pay, if you don't like, if you're not fighting him, we're not going to give you that money. He's like, well, then what's the point of me being here? You know what I'm saying?
The money
that's
is
where
there
the
anyway.
shit come in, but we don't get the. But the fact of the matter is, we not getting the fight either way, no matter whose side you riding with, because it's both of these motherfuckers ain't willing to budge, and it's just like, there we go. It's a pissing match. Yeah. And what they're doing is they pissing away Undisputed, and that goes for the PBC and Canelo for a second time. Canelo
On God,
Yep.
I'm just bringing the balance, the duality to the shit, because Canelo not left
I
out.
get you. Right.
Plant, PBC, they catching flame. They been catching flame, man. They gonna continue to catch flame until they get that big champ. They couldn't even get it with Charlo and Castano. You know
Bro,
how hot I was.
exactly.
You know how hot I
Exactly.
was, bro. I was
When
like,
you
look,
had it,
just
when
pick
you had
one of these niggas so that we can say PBC got one.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can't even say
Yeah.
that.
you couldn't
Right.
even get it over the line. Like you had to fight to me, and you couldn't even get that over the line. Like, oh my God.
Can't get right as PBC, man.
And what
Anyway.
what I don't get is that now they talking about he got to do a what is it, a Mando, right?
Yeah, some
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
What was gonna happen, man?
doesn't unification trump Mando,
um
or is it just the
Yeah,
title?
but if it's the IBF, you know, IBF.
IBF.
The
The
same.
IBF
thing is,
Got you.
if the IBF already accepted an exemption for the undisputed once already, they ain't gonna do it again. It's the same as when Tyson Fury got stripped by the IBF. They'd already had did an exemption for Klitschko to have that Fury fight. So when Fury won that fight, there was going to be a rematch. Because there was a rematch clause, Fury instantly got stripped because he wasn't going to satisfy the mandatory. So if they've already satisfied it once, if they've already given you one exemption, they're not going to give you another one straight away.
Anyway, gents,
Iron
I'm gonna get the hell out off of here and go back to work. Anything from y'all? Close out? Anything from y'all? ERF?
Nah, I'm good. Peace. Good talking to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
peace. ERF. That's ERF Boxing. I don't know if he has a channel. If he has a channel, y'all subscribe to my guy. 1-2 Kid.
Oh man, I'm sorry I got on late, man. I was busy, but I caught it and I just enjoyed chopping it up with you, man. So
Yeah,
thanks for
man.
having me, Icon.
Peace to you. And the Black Horseman himself.
Yeah, I was gonna make one last statement, but I don't want to try to strike another debate or nothing crazy. So I'll let the flame simmer out, man. Fuck it. But Iron Cone, it's always a pleasure, man. Great live
Hey,
stream.
man. Peace to you, Black. Thank
It's
you
me
for coming
again.
on, my brother.
No.
It's me again. Hey, thank y'all for coming through in the chat. Aabs, Haplo, Lisa Bales, Wayne Hennessy, you come on kind of late. That's all right. Still, Mango Juice was here early. Tone, Saul Gutierrez, Toby was here. Leighton, what's up, man? You come through. You ain't get engaging in conversation. You normally join people's panels. You didn't join mine. What happened? Me and you got beef, Leighton? Who else was here, man? Who else was here? I don't want to miss nobody. Red Glove was in the house. The Haka to Settin, my guy Rafi come through. Who else? Let me go back up quickly. Anybody else? If I miss anybody else, my mistake. Thank y'all for coming through. Y'all have a good day. Have a good weekend. Peace and power.